cultural shock when you came to NLS?
NLS being like this boiler pot of like a lot of cultures and a lot of diversity.
So what was your strategy?
I took a long while to just solidify that, I think.
Law is what I want to pursue.
Primarily because I was interested in science, but also because it would serve as a good backup in case.
How long did you try doing that?
Once I did that, it solidified that aspect in my brain that yes, law is something I want to do.
So how to, come at an equilibrium, how to balance these two?
So what I can learn from the mock is more important.
Hello students, welcome back to the channel. Yet another topper. Now this time from CLAT 2024, Pradyod Shah, All India Rank 2. Hi Pradyod, how are you? How is NLS treating you?
Hi, Riel. It's been great so far. I think NLS has been a place of mystery, I would say, in a way. Like, we had all of these expectations coming in. Some of them have been met, I think, but at the same time, the others have been kind of a letdown. It's really a place where you just try your best to fit in as much as you can. And I think that's going well so far, I think.
Right. So now, Pradyod, since you're in your second year, right? So what was it when you entered NLS? And like you must be having very different thoughts than what you're having now. So can you please take us through the 2-year journey that you had?
So when I came into NLS in the first year, at least, I was very confused. I don't come from a law background, so I was the first lawyer in my family, at least. So when I came there, I just didn't know how to study in a manner, like what exactly am I supposed to concentrate on, whether I do moods, whether I focus on academics, etc., right? And even reaching out to seniors, all of this was a bit of a hassle for me because I didn't think many people from my school really went to NLS, right?
Okay.
So that was just something I spent the first year mostly figuring out how to balance things, how to balance my extracurriculars or just my personal life with my academics in a way. And I think just figuring out a support system, figuring out how exactly everything functions here, that took a while. And I think it takes a while for everyone to settle in also.
Right. So since you mentioned not many from your school, your native place went to NLS, so did you experience a cultural shock when you came to NLS?
Yeah, for sure. I think because of the fact that NLS as a place, it accommodates a lot of people from diverse backgrounds. There were many people who I would possibly not have interacted with, or like people from their cultures, for example. So just NLS being like this boiler pot of like a lot of cultures and a lot of diversity, it really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I probably didn't know before. I met a lot of people who I probably would not have spoken to
So
earlier.
just like a whole new world that you have stepped into.
Yeah.
Right. Now coming to your CLAT preparation, how was it? Like how long did you prepare for CLAT? Did you prepare it while you were in 11th or 12th?
I started in 11th itself.
Okay, 11th itself. So you had 2 years, major years. So what was your strategy?
My strategy was, I think, just trying to understand the basics of it. I took a long while to just solidify that, I think. And once the mocks and everything started, I tried to sit and do maybe a mock or 2 mocks a week, maybe at certain times, and just try to analyze everything as much as I can. I think analysis of mocks is something that a lot of people don't do. They just mechanically keep giving mocks and mocks maybe once every day or something. I would strongly urge against that because I feel like this analysis really helps you to understand the logic behind the paper, the way the questions are framed, etc. And these things really help you score better in a way because you realize where you're going wrong, where you're going right, what are your weaknesses, how you can rectify these. So what me and one of my friends used to do, we would, after every mocks, like just go through our mistakes, then sit and analyze and maybe try to explain to each other that if certain questions he got right that I got wrong, he would try to explain to me.
So you were like your mentor-mentee to
Kind
each
of,
other.
right?
So you were someone who used to study in groups?
Yeah.
Because this is one particular question that every student comes across, that, diverse opinions, group study, self-study, I'm a lone wolf, no, I want to study with my friends. So what's your take on that?
So I would say personally, it depends on subjectively, right? Each person, they choose whatever fits them the most. For me, group studies helped a lot, right? I had one of my friends, he also got into NLS, and he really helped me through everything, right? I tried to find someone who was a bit smarter than me in a manner, so they could actually come and teach me things that I didn't know. I could learn from just trying to emulate them or try to see how exactly their approach is to a particular question. And once they explained that to me, I would try to rationalize and see if that makes sense to me or not. Once that occurred, then I would be like, okay, fine, yeah, that does make sense. So I'll try to emulate this also. This plus the fact that you have this constant support system because you're surrounding yourself with these like-minded people who are giving the same exam, who you meet with every single day. It really helps with a mental aspect with it also that I think is really underappreciated by many people, right?
Right.
So this lone wolf kind of strategy that you may have, yes, it can go a long way, especially if you feel like you're up to it. But having this support system is something that becomes really essential because I think I at least went through a lot of maybe mental breakdowns or like just emotional kind of trauma that happened during CLAT. So this support system really helped me.
Like a whole lot to take in. You're preparing for a competitive exam, then you have classes, boards as well, then there's parental pressure. So did you face that?
So my parents were always really, really open with me doing whatever I'm really lucky and I'm really grateful to my parents for that, right? They gave me the opportunity to do whatever I wanted as long as I was interested and passionate enough about it. And I think after a while of like soul searching and figuring out what exactly the field I wanted to do was, I settled on law and they were completely okay with that decision. They supported me across every single leg of my journey.
Okay, so at this point, I want you to address this, that what made you finally realize, okay, no, I need to give CLAT. Law is what I want to pursue.
Yeah. So again, like I mentioned, I come from a science background. In the sense, I did science in school as well. Primarily because I was interested in science, but also because it would serve as a good backup in case other things didn't work out. So after a bit of experimentation, I kind of like figured out, okay, I don't want to write JEE or NEET. That doesn't seem like something I want to do. And then I just started thinking to myself what exactly I can do. And a friend of mine suggested maybe I could try looking at law or humanities. And I did. And I think it kind of piqued my interest in a way. And once I started classes for it and I kept doing mocks and I kept doing the kind of revision sheets and attending classes, it kind of had a hold over me, I would say. So then I realized, okay, law does seem like something that is really interesting and something that it would be worth getting into. And
so
that's
you
what I did.
actually just tasted how it would be. That's something really impressive here, because students just, contemplate based on what they get to hear. But you actually took an action and you saw, like, okay, if this is working or not. So how long did you try doing that?
In fact, can I just interject here?
Yeah.
In fact, I think after my CLAT, just to solidify this for myself that I really want to get into law school, I did an internship at a firm, right? A litigation internship. And that really kind of like just helped explain to myself that yes, this is something I'm really interested in. This just feels something that I can go into, because once I did that, it solidified that aspect in my brain that yes, law is something I want to do. But
okay. No, completely. That answers my question. Okay, moving ahead, like since you were basically a foundation student, right? You prepared for 11th and 12th. So what's one mistake that, if given a chance, you would ask all the students not to do it and avoid doing it?
So I would say stop analyzing your test scores as this objective metric. Oh, I'm getting good at something, I'm getting bad at my mocks, I'm gonna crack CLAT, I'm not gonna crack CLAT. I personally had a lot of ups and downs, right? There were mocks where I was scoring much lesser as compared to others, and there were mocks where I was scoring on par, right? I had this problem of overtly comparing myself to others, which really had a problem on my self-esteem as well.
Okay.
So I would say one thing you do is do not try to take that at heart too much. CLAT mocks themselves sometimes are really bad mocks, so you might score bad in them also.
So, I feel student might get, irritated or confused with the fact that, okay, one time you're saying mock analysis are really important, at the same time you're saying, mock analysis are something that you don't have to take to your heart, and okay, it's just mocks at the end of the day. So how to, come at an equilibrium, how to balance these two thoughts in general?
Great question. I think, so the analysis part of it is just to understand the logic behind each question, right? What did I choose as an option? Why is that wrong? Why is this instead right? Try to understand that. As compared to what I'm trying to say, you don't compare is the objective score you get or the mark you get in the end, right? If you
don't, sorry to interrupt, don't drag the rank or the marks. Just focus, okay, from this mocks, I got to know that this is my weak area. These are my strength. Going on next mock, I have to do this particular thing.
Absolutely. So what I can learn from the mock is more important, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. And any particular strategy, like since you although were from a math background, which did you find the subject to be the weakest?
The weakest? I would say logical was the weakest for me, at least. Because until you solidify the basics very well, you're going to always come across questions that you don't understand why exactly the answer is right and why my answer is wrong, right? So you really need to put in a lot of effort to, again, analysis, right? You need to put in a lot of effort to understand what are the types of answers that come for these types of questions. What is the pattern that is being repeated over here?
Right.
How exactly do I get about this? What is the logical connection? I think that's something that took me a while, and when I finally did grasp it, it helped tremendously.
So any particular strategy that helped you crack SIA?
Uh,
Any particular formula? It can be anything.
So I heard a lot of advice from people to do GMAT questions, but I would say don't do those because those are meant for a kind of age group that is much
Right.
beyond us.
CAT level.
CAT level, right?
Right.
So if it works for you, sure, go ahead. But I didn't do that. What I just did was as many mocks as I could and trying to analyze what was the logic. So find those patterns in logical reasoning. That really helps.
Okay, great. So one final message to all the aspirants who will be appearing for CLAT 2026. What would be it?
I think the journey is definitely worth it. Like the outcome in the end may not always be satisfactory, but the process itself, you learn so much from it. It really opens your eye up to everything. Don't be scared of sections like quant or GK, right? Embrace the fear, try to go with it as much as you can, and ultimately you'll find out it's more enjoyable than you actually thought it was. So once you conquer all of that, you do your analysis very well, you write as many mocks as you can, and your self-esteem is incredibly important throughout this entire journey. Just make sure you're working on yourself also. Don't compromise yourself.
Right.
So
Amazing.
I think that's the best you can do.
Great. Thank you so much,
Thank you
and
so
I
much.
wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.